Yeah.
From the lobby all the way to overseas, they're making things for everything. I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to sing. If you're coming from my head, you're just managing. You're just managing. Hey, you step in the club, you not get money to spare. You see the two cocky breaking the two set to a bar. Yeah, managing, don't go there. My picky don't go there. Yeah, managing, don't go there. My brabby don't go there. I say you walking, you sweating, but only you know I'm happening. They traffic you bluffing, but they not know say you got me. Yeah, managing, now the country. Everybody in hurry. Yeah, managing, don't go there. My picky don't go there. I say they're supposed to protect like a property. Instead of they protecting, they just getting oxygen every day. What you will do when I manage it? You will stay for a right. We will stay for the two. You will not manage it. Even though it's hard, you will not break the rules. I say, tell me how you feeling. I don't care if you hate or like me. I just want to see you dancing, happy, celebrating with something because I'm taking it like this. I'm taking it like that. She feeling my side, she touching my morale. She calling in your eyes. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to sing. If you're coming from my head, you're just managing. You're just managing. Don't say to do something. Forget about the plenty talking. Think you plenty get some problems. Always keep your head in the guessing and appreciate what you got. Give thanks to the Lord for your life. Always keep your head up high because everything has time. You're managing. My brothers and sisters, Muslims or Christians, you're managing. Don't go there. My brother, don't go there. I'm managing with the clothes I'm wearing. I'm managing with the car I'm driving. I'm managing with the food I eating. I'm managing with the girls I loving. I say anytime you see me, I'm managing for myself. Anytime you see me, I'm managing for myself. I say, Mama baby, oh, Mama baby, oh, everybody, body, oh, everybody, body, oh. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to sing. If you're coming from my head, you're just managing. You're just managing. Manage with your business. Manage with your manage with your Ghana, manage with your marijuana. If you ride your car, then I'll be your life aspire. Just keep your head up high and leave everything straight to the over. So use your fingers, play my music. Yeah. Wanna see my people smiling. Yeah. Derek King, I know you feel it. Yeah. Thanks to my Serena, baby.
A warm welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our prime time edition. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. Enjoy the music, just manage it.
Enemies guessing. KTEG, I already know it is what it is. Baby, classical. I am PRO. I feel this crazy instrumental. Use your fingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we want to again welcome you to Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia is the network that educates, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. My name is Anthony C. co-hosting with Mr. Danny Jazz. We have the man Archie P. Williams as our guest. He has a page that is making news. We all go there to learn all the pieces of history. Some of our missed, some are already missed, but maybe have forgotten. And it can be so refreshing to go on that page to learn about the pieces of history that make us what we are as a people. He is here as a guest on Focus on Liberia. Why he started this thing, he will tell us. Again, folks, we can't say welcome enough. We will ask you to hit that share button for us so that others can be able to benefit from the conversation. I am happy to be here. I love history, but Archie has been the one who's been documenting these things for us. And sometimes when you think that something just happened, he will post something, that is similar to it. Why is he doing that? Why is he trying to tell us? All that in this one package, and you can only find it here on Focus on Liberia. My partner, Danaja, is excited, and I am excited as well to have Archie in the house. Mr. Ja, how are you feeling, sir?
I'm really, really excited. That's why I call it the history of Liberia through the newspapers. And the man, Archie P. Williams of the Archie P. Williams Research Center is here. He has been archiving all these things for us, and we're going to be hearing from him on what this is all about. We want to welcome you across the globe. We say keep it here at Focus on Liberia. Share the show and invite someone, and let's talk to our man, Mr. Archie P. Williams. Mr. Archie Williams, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Ja and Mr. C. I am very grateful for the invite, and thank you to the administrators of the Focus on Liberia. Thank you.
And Archie, you have a very elaborate resume here, and I will let my partner, Mr. C, go into it a little bit, but you wear so many hats, but we are thrilled to have you. And I remember when I first approached you on being part of the show, you were so excited. You're such a big man, but you are not difficult to get to. We appreciate that.
Thank you. I mean, service to people, you have to humble yourself, and that has been part of me.
All right. So, sorry, Archie. With that said, we have a brief resume of Archie and what he has been doing, what roles he has played in the past, and maybe continue on to play as well. I will read that for our listening audience so that they can get to know Archie a little more. All right, I read here, Archie actually worked in several capacities in government as well as private. He served as Deputy Minister for Administration, Ministry of National Defense for 2012 to 2015. He served as Deputy Commissioner for Administration, Bureau of Immigration and Naturalization from 2006 to 2012. He also served as administrative assistant to the Commissioner of Immigration. That's in 2006. He also served as electoral assistant to the head of the European Union Election Observation Mission in Liberia, and that was in 2005. He also served as special assistant to the Director of Police from 2003 to 2005. He also, interestingly, served as managing editor for the Puwash newspaper, which is no more. That was from 2001 to 2003. He also served as liaison officer for HIV/AIDS program, Office of the Public Affairs, U.S. Embassy. It was a contract. That was in 2003. At Chikian staff, he served as Director of Communication, Ministry of Information. That was from 2000 to 2001. And Administrative Assistant to the Minister of Information from 1999 to 2000. He also served as Director of Research and Planning, Ministry of Information. That was from 1998 to 1999. He served as Research Assistant for NARD in 1987. Academically speaking, he got some accolade in his academic bag. Currently, he is an attorney at law. I think he packaged that one in 2017. That is the LLB in law from the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law. That happened in the year 2016. Not stopping there, MBA, Finance and Banking, University of Liberia Graduate School of Business in 2011. Postgraduate Diploma, PGD, Development Diplomacy, Foreign Service Institute, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2009. Then a graduate certificate in microfinance in 2008.
Wait. Archie is too much. Archie, you're too much. Let's start right there.
All right.
Yeah, let's start right there and let's get into the meat of what we are here today. So Archie, again, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are glad to have you. Let's get the ball rolling. We see that you are archiving Liberian newspapers. And I don't know, besides newspaper, if you do anything else, if you archive anything else, I believe, because I saw some pictures. So tell us exactly what is it that you do with these newspapers that we see on Facebook every day. What is it that you do? Archie?
Dennis, once again, thank you for the invite. I highly appreciate it and for elevating me to a wider audience. And little did I know that what I embarked upon almost a year ago will have captivated the attention of people like you. So I'm very grateful for the invite. Reference the archives. Actually, there has been an inborn tendency. There has been something that has been part of me from day one I was coming up. As a young boy coming up in Kipamos, there was something instinctive about me. There was no day that I passed around without seeing a piece of paper and picking it up, read it, and then something will tell me, look, this paper will be of importance tomorrow. So it has been part of me. So I have been collecting anything reference to information. After I graduated from high school, I came to Monrovia. In fact, in the first place, when I was coming out, I wanted to study political science and history. But my parents advised me, and it was during the time of this progressive era. So they advised me, oh, if you learn political science, they will, you will be in jail, you won't do anything substantive for the family. So I had to switch to do economics in college, and I minored in political science. But the interesting part about it was I did everything in political science, all courses in political science, with the exception of doing my thesis. So it was like a double major in economics and political science. Some part of 1985, I paid a visit in Kipamos, and then the bulk of the newspaper that my old man had, together with other newspapers that are found around the terrain, I brought them in Monrovia, and I started archiving them. Fast forward, when the war came in 1990, especially after October, they had this clean up campaign in Monrovia, and people had tons of newspapers that they threw on the dump piles. So I kept on collecting the people started laughing at me about, actually, why are you taking your newspaper? They used to call me dump pile hero. People laugh at me. What are you doing with this newspaper? And I knew that there was something that this newspaper were going to create. So I started archiving the newspaper. My breakthrough came in 1996, right after the April 6th. They had this whole market on Kerry Street where they had buy your own thing. I'm not, maybe you remember buy your own thing.
Right.
In the midst of the war, where people were looking for food, I barely survived. I came across this soldier guy, maybe an armed forces or Liberia guy, with 6 pitchfork barrels of newspaper and archival documents. He was selling them. Imagine people looking for food. I approached him and we made a deal. And I bought all those barrels of newspaper from him. And you wouldn't believe it, what were in the barrels. Historical documents, newspapers from the 50s, 60s, 70s, yes. And important historical documents. What did I do? We were in war. I stored them on Maple Street there after I transferred them to Logantown where I was living. So gradually I started buying newspaper. Every day, there would never be a day that would pass without me buying newspaper. I would go on an education ministry. I would go in the market where the market women will use this newspaper to be selling wrapping the things. I will buy it from them. So the motivation, what was the motivation?
Mr. Williams, let's stop there. Let's take it slowly, right? Because there's too many things that you just said. So I want you to stop right there. And we're going to go over those things point by point and see a little boy in Kipamos picking up, because when you start picking up papers, they say you are crazy. So we'll go back there and talk about your early days, how you really got started. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we are sitting down with Mr. Archie P. Williams. This guy is archiving newspapers. He's keeping them as far back as the 1950s when he was not even born. He had all those papers. How he got started and where he is now, that's why we're going to talk tonight. So, Archie, in Kipamos, there where you started picking up these papers, what exactly were you picking? Were they newspapers or you said anything that had information, like what?
anything readable, especially, you know, I started from the Cali school, right? I had a school in Plivo, because in Francis school. So they had this, every time they would change the books from in the library and bring new books in. And when they throw those books away, especially what they call Reader Digest, I'm not sure you can find Reader Digest around. Reader Digest and old Newsweek, Time magazines, I will collect all those things and keep them. And even newspapers. So I collected the newspapers, and there, like I said, it was something instinctive. I don't know. You know, sometimes you're born with these kind of inclinations.
But what were your parents saying about that?
I mean, not my parents per se, but friends. Friends felt there was something amiss. There was something odd about me picking up old newspaper. You see, and it followed me up to Monrovia. You see, it became intensified in Monrovia. And even at the point in time where I had just entered the University of Liberia, I did not shy away from buying newspapers, from picking up newspapers. There will never be a day where you see me without a newspaper or some kind of document in my hand. I mean, I just don't know how it was, but something was in me that was pushing me to do what I used to do. And it became a magnificent obsession for me. And this is where we are today.
Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
So before leaving for Monrovia, leaving from Kipamos, those ones that you collected, I'm sure you may have not have taken them to Monrovia, did you? And if you did not take them to Monrovia, how you felt leaving them there in Kipamos?
Like I said, they were in Kipamos. I went back in Kipamos in 1985.
Okay.
And I brought them in Monrovia.
Okay.
They were not as many as possible,
right.
But at least the few that were there, I was able to bring them to Monrovia. And the amazing part about it, everywhere I went, all during the war, people were running away. I was running away with my newspapers.
So those who saw the newspaper in your hands while you're running for your life, I know they look at you, but is this guy no?
It sounds so funny. People look at me, but what is wrong with this guy? What is wrong with he and newspaper? There will never be a day where you see me passing the street without a piece of newspaper. Anywhere I pass, when I see a piece of newspaper, I will have to buy it. In fact, I will look at it when it has some information, I will have to buy it. I mean, that has been part and parcel of me. So gradually, that inclination that was in me came out when the idea germinated that led to the opening of this center.
Wow. So let me go back to the war where, you know, the rebels had this mind that book people spoil the country. So they didn't like to see people with newspapers or certificate or anything that is educative. How you managed to survive the rebels who didn't like people going to school?
you see in the war, people were looking for values.
Yeah.
They were looking for valuable things. Newspaper were the last thing that anybody mind would run to. Books were the last thing that people mind would run to. So I'm not sure that the rebels thought books or newspaper were important. So they for example, if they came to my house and they looked at my house, they would not carry newspapers. They would leave them all later on the floor. And this is where I came in. Most of the people that came from exile, most of the people that came from refugee camp, they did a clean up exercise in their home. And then they threw all the newspaper, all the books, they threw it on the dump pile. In 1992, shortly after Octopus,
right.
Monrovia City Corporation launched what they call a clean up campaign at the center of Newport and Benson Street. At the intersection of Newport and Benson Street, somewhere where they have the LFA headquarters there was a big dump site.
Yeah.
And that was where they threw thousands of newspapers. And you wouldn't believe it. I would go there and collect, and fortunately, it was not raining season. Fortunately, it was not raining season. So I would collect
you found your treasure right there, Archie.
Yes. I would collect all the newspaper. And before the war, I lived on Nipple Street. So from Benston and Nipple Street Junction, I would take all the newspaper and carry them on Nipple Street and store them. But notwithstanding, I was displaced across the bridge in Logan Town. Okay. So after I stored them on Nipple Street, gradually I hauled all of them in Logan Town. And more than that, Logan Town was a safe area. Yes, Logan Town was a safe area. So when I collect these things, I store them in Logan Town. So in my little room that I had in Logan Town, there were papers all around. There were newspapers, there were documents, there were books, even on my bed. And people kept on laughing at me. I mean, the thing is so funny. At that time, I did not know. At that time, I did not know that I was going to open a center.
And that's one of the things that is, you know, kind of puzzling, because I've been in Logan Town. I know the size of those rooms. I've slept in one of them. So I can't imagine, and sometimes you are not even alone. Sometimes you have your siblings and everybody else. So I can't imagine what space you have there in that room with you and your papers.
At that time, it was my fiancée and myself. I never had siblings, but I mean, she understood my passion. Actually, she understood my passion. So I mean, you can play with anything about Archie, but don't play with his newspapers. Yeah, don't play with his newspapers. Don't play with his documents. Don't play with anything relative to my documents and my newspaper. So anybody that came around me, they knew that aspect of me.
What was your goal? You were collecting these things. Was it in your mind that someday you're going to do X, Y, Z with them, or what was the point?
I knew in my mind that these newspapers were going to be of importance one day in the future. In my mind, I knew. But I did not know which trend it would have taken. I didn't know. You see, so gradually it became an obsession. And as we continue the interview, I will tell you how it came about. And I started sharing it on this platform, especially on the Dillon Center. I will explain how it came about.
Right, and that's exactly what we are coming to. But tell me, because storing this newspaper from one place to another, you know, even buying them, I remember you said you bought 6 barrels. I know it costs money. And I mean, where you got money from, or were you relatively, you know, well off so that you could use your extra cash to buy papers?
You talking about war relatively well off?
we just read your resume. Maybe that's where you are getting all the money from.
No, during the war I was not working. I mean, if you saw the resume, you saw the time. And during the war, I was not working. I mean, everybody was just hustling, doing their own thing. And how much the newspaper cost at that time, soldier man wanted small thing for his food. And I'm not sure he knew the importance of what he had at that time. So the barrel, the 6 barrels that I bought from him, in fact, he was selling the newspaper. How much? 10 cents. 10 cents per paper. 10 cents per paper. 10 cents. Because he has sample of them on the ground. Mm-hmm. You understand? So he was selling them 10 cents per paper. So if you bought 10 paper, that was $1. Mm-hmm. So we calculated, and I think it came up to, the total came up to something like less than $1,000. Less than $1,000 for the 6 people barrel of newspaper, less than $1,000. And I did not pay that amount on the spot. We negotiated, and every other time I will pay towards it. I will pay towards it gradually. And nobody wanted to buy newspapers. That's it. That was what served to my advantage. Right. People were not buying newspapers.
You operated exclusively in that market.
You get it, that precisely. So I saw that gold mine and I capitalized on it. And he was so happy to sell them to me, because who at that time looking for food were buying newspapers?
Yeah, you were the buyer.
The only people that were contesting me were the market women. Market women to buy newspapers to wrap their goods in it. They were contesting me.
So
yeah, they were contesting
competitors.
Yes, so they were contesting me. But after I made the man to understand that I was going to buy everything from him, mm-hmm. he decided to give all to me.
Okay. So let's come to the point now, how you started putting these things out now, because you've been keeping them from room to room, you know. So at what point you decided to start to share them with people? I don't know if people were coming to your house to read, or how you start coming out with them.
Before then, people used to come to people that knew that I had papers used to come to me, and I gave it to them, and I helped a couple of people. For example, during the war, right? Where armed robbers were prevalent, people went into exile, and some found themselves in America, and they were looking for asylum. So if armed robber came to my house and armed robbed my family, and we went into exile, and the newspaper reported it, and I found myself in America, I would want that copy of that newspaper, right?
Yes, right.
To show to the people that my family. So people knew about that thing about me. I'm not going to call names. Actually, I'm not going to call names. But people used to contact me. A couple of people that were doing the research contacted me for newspapers for research. I remember a lady came from London. She came, and I was able to furnish her with some newspapers. She came from London School of Economics, and she was doing some research on Liberian history, some economic data she was collecting. And I availed my library to her, and she was very, very, very impressed. Even you know Raptor Pele?
Yeah.
Okay.
From
Raptor Pele benefited from my library. From London, she benefited from my library. I mean, she came, she did a couple of research, and she benefited from my library. So you see, so besides that, other people came and they asked me, and I availed my documents to them. Okay, now, what was the motivation? What created the avenue to start posting the papers, right? That's the major thing, right? Mm-hmm. One day while sitting down, I was watching a documentary about Don Cornelius, the Soul Train guy.
Yeah.
Yes. So he started explaining how the whole concept of Soul Train came into operation, how he operationalized Soul Train. During those days in America, the black music were not permeating the society. It was not getting to the white audience.
Right.
So the best thing that he needed to do was to create an avenue where the black music was going to be elevated to the audience of the whites. So he created this concept of Soul Train. Many days, white folks would be sitting down, and then they saw this Soul Train, this novelty, and they started liking it. So while watching it, the idea came to me, hey, I got all these newspapers, thousands of people out there, they are looking for information. They don't know these things have been happening. So why can I use that model of Don Cornelius to bring to bear, to public glare, these newspapers that I have? Mm-hmm. The idea came to me. So the first time I decided to post it on the Dallas Delon Center. And what was the first article I posted, the first newspaper I posted? It was about perpetual leadership. I don't want to be political, but I will tell you what it was all about. The whole concept of 10, 12 years, 24 years, 30 years, you can remember, right? When ideologues of the ruling party said that we're going to be in power for 24 years.
Right.
Right in the space of that time, I had another newspaper that captured similar statements we made. That NPPI perpetual leadership. So within that realm of time, I posted that particular newspaper that was captured in 1997, shortly after Taylor became president. Mm-hmm. And that headline was NPPI perpetual leadership. It coincided with similar statement that was made that this dispensation will go for 24 years or by extension forever. The likes were enormous. So I started getting motivated. So thereafter, I started researching. If all the news item came on, what became newsable, I will stay the whole night up and look among my people. And you don't believe it, I have more than 50,000 of the 70,000 newspapers. I will have to look for all the newspapers one by one, to see which of these headlines of yesteryear that are similar to the headline of today and juxtapose them. So that I started gradually, I started posting on the Loan Center, and it started having wide acclaim. It started having wide acclaim, started having wide appeal. And more than that, let me tell you something. I will not call name again. During the campaign time, the second round campaign, there was no opposition.
Right.
There was no opposition or ruling party personality that did not approach me for newspapers. One of such person came to me and said, "Look, actually, we know you got all newspapers, but there is a newspaper that we want you to have to give us, and that newspaper will be critical for us." I will not call name. I found that newspaper, and a VIP called me and told me, "Thank you. My newspaper was very, very instrumental to catapult them to power."
You got paid for that?
You know, some people, those things happen. I mean, I was not looking for pay. I mean, so I'm just telling you to what extent my newspaper was able to help other people. You know what I'm saying?
Archie.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask a question. No, because earlier you said your library, you have your lay personal library in your home with all these 70,000 plus newspaper and other historical facts that you may have on hand. How you arrange them? Because when you say library, something suggests to me that, okay, he might have packaged them or arranged them by dates and maybe years. Is that how it is, so that you can easily reach to it based on what's happening today? Because I see that when you post one, it's in line with something that's happening today.
Yeah, actually, at my home, I have a whole room full of newspaper. When I was building my house, I knew I had newspapers, so newspaper had their own room. My newspaper competed with me for room space. So the size of my room is the same size of my newspaper room. So my newspaper got a whole room. So yeah, relative to how I package or how I catalog them. I catalog them according to newspapers: Inquirer, Democrat, New Liberia, and so and so forth. And I catalog them by date. But most so, I catalog them by the headlines. For example, we talk about Ebola, right? Obviously, all the newspapers in the past will carry headline concerning Ebola. So all the newspapers that had Ebola stories, I had them catalog, be it New Democrat, be it Daily Observer, be it Inquirer, I catalog them by the theme, by the headlines. So if there is an issue, similar issue about COVID-19 that coincided with similar story about Ebola, I just go straight to the Ebola newspapers where I store them and look to see whether those headlines coincide with similar headline that is made today and reflected what was made yesterday with the Ebola. Since all of them are the same old thing, yeah.
What, by doing that, what are you trying to get at? By saying, okay, this happening today, I'm gonna look for newspaper that this happened before and post it. What are you trying to accomplish doing that?
But you know, one of the misconceptions of history, people just feel that history is just a record or a record of something that passed, just for people to get to know something that passed and they throw history away. Why coming up in school we learn about John Kizet, Julie Ashmore, Matilda Nepo, and all those things. But there are schools in Monrovia here that have those names, and you bet that some students don't know who those schools were named after. For example, you have Daniel E. Howard School. Students that went to Daniel E. Howard was one of our presidents during the World War I. I bet that students that went to Daniel E. Howard did not know anything about Daniel E. Howard. They did not know he was president during the tumultuous time in Liberia. They didn't know what he looked like. And you can name them. You understand? We have Ellen May Scarborough School, we have Susan Berry School, and even to an extent where, without any bias to my pros or the administration, at the school, the Louis Arthur Grant School that I graduated from, I am not sure that some of my classmates before me or after me, you understand, have seen the photo of Louis Arthur Grant. You understand? So this is where history comes in. This is where history comes in. We have to document history. We have to bring history to the full glare of people. We have to make people to understand that, look, things that happened yesterday, they are repetitious. And it's incumbent upon decision makers. It's incumbent upon anybody, you understand, that is in authority, be it in government cycle or otherwise, to utilize the tenets of history to make an informed decision so some of these things will not happen, to avert the occurrences of yesterday, to avert them from happening today, to stop them from happening today. That is the essence, that is the main message I'm trying to send to people. Look, yesterday, we had war here yesterday, and these were the indicators, these were the indices of war. Today, we shouldn't go back to the same old things that created an avenue for us to go at each other's throat, for us to kill 250,000 of our kith and kin, for us to obliterate almost 1 million of our brothers to be in exile. So these were the ills in the society, and they were reflected through the pages of history. So I am bringing this history to the public glare for people to learn from them. You understand?
Is your message resonating with the people?
I am sure to a larger extent, because if my message was not resonating, I wouldn't be on this forum. I wouldn't be on this forum. It has resonated. That is what captured your attention to call me for this invite. And there are a couple of people, if you follow my page, I mean, people are discussing history now. I'm not sure in any point in time in our government dispensation, either in the past or now, where you see people so inclined to history. People are discussing history. The whole idea of history is about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let us discuss about the good. Let us discuss about the bad. Let us discuss about the ugly.
I follow that page very well, and I see the stories come. So anytime I read a story, like the latest I read was the I think excerpt from the book of Mrs. Victoria Turbert. So when I saw that, I said, I wonder how, you know, he goes about picking something. Is it something that he's trying to, is it something that he agrees with, he tried to post, or is it something he's using to refute whatever understanding or whatever story is out there? You know, what do you factor in before you post such a story? And to that, do you kind of type it out or you copy and paste? Because I see some of these things are long. Are you sitting there all night typing word for word from the newspaper so that you can let us enjoy it? 2-in-1 question, sir.
Okay, yeah, actually, this whole thing, the question is about 2 layers. And let me answer the first layer, and I will come to the second aspect of the Victoria Turbert story. Mainly, the kind of history I do is about teaching. It's about educating people. Prior to the Victoria Turbert story, I did an analysis of some uniqueness about the Liberian history, about children or sons and daughters that follow in the footsteps of their parents. If I look at it, I took it from 1847 up to now. Children that follow in the footsteps of the parents. For example, if 50 years ago you were minister, 50 years after your son became minister, that is unique. So I went into the historical analysis and research, and I discovered there was some uniqueness about Liberian history. For example, James Carvin, who was vice president to E.J. Raw, his son became vice president to Barclay. J. Rudolph Grimes' father was chief justice, and you name it. So I cataloged all of them and I brought them to public glare, and people were surprised that these things happen. Now let's come to the Victoria Turbert story. There are a whole lot of misconceptions concerning the death of Turbert, and who would be well positioned to explain what really happened on that night of April 12th, besides the person that was by his side. And no small person, no better person was his wife, who saw what happened. And fortunately, she was able to reduce that into a book they call Lifted Up. I'm not sure many people had the opportunity of reading that book. The perception around was there was a white hand that committed the act, and that white hand was the unknown soldier that they had right in front of the mansion. So when Victoria Clubber revealed the account of what happened that fatal night of April 12th, I thought to bring it to the public glare for people to get to know what really happened. So I decided to do it in stages. The first stage was when she started advising her husband about her officials, how deceitful they were, and then they were all I7, and that he never had friends. That was the beginning. How they were in cahoot with most of the people that were opposing him. And she was there. She overheard some of the conversation. She brought it to him. That was the first aspect. The second aspect had to do with the night of the assassination. And then the third aspect had to do with the death of Eddie Talbot. Because there are a whole lot of conception or misconception about this whole thing. Now, here's the story, and here's the lesson. You understand? The part one had to do with officials of government that were not very, very loyal to Talbot, that as she revealed in her book. In past governments, after Talbot, in Doe government, were these same things not happening?
They were happening.
They did happen. In the successive interim government, they did not happen. People will say that the president is good, but the advisors that he had around them, that they have around them are not good. They can give them, those things have been happening. And I'm not sure that this dispensation holds any uniqueness. People are saying similar things. So it happened yesterday, and it's happening today. What lessons can we learn from the trappings of history? What lessons can we learn? It's up to us to look at the different contradictions of history and make the necessary adjustments. And the sooner we realize that, the better it is for us. The pages of history are there. I am doing my part, bringing history to the public glare, one day at a time, paper by paper, juxtaposing them, you understand, with the reality of yesterday and equating them to today. I am doing mine. It is very expensive. Yeah.
What are some of the stories you have there? Do you have some sample newspapers, some of the oldest stories you can show us? Or some of the most intriguing that you have around that you can just point to? Even if you have the newspaper with you, show it to us. Or if you have the story that you can talk about that is so interesting as far back as you can remember.
You want me to show you a newspaper now?
Anything you have to, if you can tell me a story.
Just in a minute, let me show you a newspaper in the 1960s and the 1950s, just in a minute.
All right.
Just hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Our guest is a guy who archives historical papers and other documents since the 1950s. He's here with us, Mr. Archie P. Williams. He said his goal here is to bring to the public glare, that's the word he used, the public glare, things that have happened in the past, so as to tell us that those things are repeating. What lesson can we learn from those things so that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past? He's here tonight, and he's joining us from Monrovia.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. If you can zoom it, you see I have a paper here, Liberian Age in 1963. In 1963, and you'll be surprised. You know the headline?
No.
Beer prices jumped 100%.
The price of beer, 100%.
In 1963, March 4th, 1963, beer prices jumped 100%.
And what was that price?
The price, $8, all-time high, $8 per crate.
$8
$8, it jumped from between $4 to $4.50, and then there was, and you won't believe it, the price will increase based on an act of the legislature. Most people don't know that. It's right here, based on an act of the legislature. So beer price, when the act came into being, beer price increased from $4 to $8. Yeah, it is in history for a crate. An act of the legislature increasing the rate of duty on beer that came into effect in 1963, March 4th, 1963.
And so, Archie, for that one, before you go to the next one, what can we relate it to today? What comes to mind is data has been, the rate of, there's been tariff on the data that you people use in Liberia, and you don't have your free cost anymore. And I understand it was done through the legislature. You know, the government were trying to raise more money. Is that something that we can relate it to?
You precisely, it's a classic example. You see that. So similar thing that happening today happened yesterday. So what was the essence of government to increase tariff on beer? Because they know bulk of the people drinking were beer drinkers at that time. Right. So government was going to raise more revenue, and you can juxtapose that with the situation with what you just said about the Lone Star tariff.
Yeah.
It creates an avenue for government to increase the revenue base. It happened in 1963. Let's look at it. It's 57 years ago. So if something happened 57 years ago, it's happening today. It's happening today.
I don't want to be political, but I was going to ask you, what should our response be? If the things happening before are happening now, do we tell people, say, hey, keep quiet, man, this is nothing's going to change? Or what should that response be? Or are we going to say, oh, okay, why are you blaming the current president? The president before him did it? Or are we going to say, hey, this may not be, you know, one person responsible? What can we learn? How do you think we should respond to those kind of history repeating itself?
What we need to focus on mainly is what impact it will make. So at that particular time, what impact the increment of beer made? Did it bring development? So that is why we have to gauge, and we see that is what we're supposed to look at. But I'm not sure. And most people are of the view that Tubman administration created an avenue and was one of the most development-oriented administration. So those of the people or the adherents of Tubman administration can argue that indeed the increment or the tariff that were placed on beer or other, you know, social social services created an avenue for us to have the new executive mansion, created an avenue for us to have capital building, created an avenue for us to have JFK, created an avenue for us to have Page Street. Other people will argue that way. Bringing it to today, it will only be judged after the administration fade away. Then people can argue that, look, the measures that we're taking created an avenue for the paving of the streets that we see in Doe community, the paving of the streets that we see in all other community roads. People can argue likewise. You understand? So these things are very, 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 very much important. And now let's go to the second one.
Before you go to the second one, let me announce our call number. So I know there are people watching us, they are very much interested in what you're saying. So we want them to join and ask you questions too. I mean, they believe Dennis and Asumi alone can be the one joining from Archie. So we want to bring on our callers. Please, if you were just joining us, we're going to put the number up for you to call. And there are a few comments here. Let me read a few of the comments. Constant G Swen Duopo say, you Archie, he said he gave us one newspaper with my father-in-law. That's I think that's the late Moses Duopo. We are those say, good evening, guys, watching from Pennsylvania. And Raphael G. Sifa say, how can we access your page? Where Brian said, thank you for the posting. They have been educational for me. And Constant again say, God bless you, Archie P. William. Nora Hawk say, good job, my Cape Palmer's brother. And Joe Cassell said, the full archives of Liberian newspapers are at Stanford University Library, as well as the University of Indiana. However, we must give Mr. William credit for his collection. Back to you, Archie. Those were some of the comments.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I highly appreciate it. I know some of the people, and obviously, I will get to know some other people later on. I know Constance very well, and the paper she talked about was for late father-in-law Moses Grupo. I have a copy here when the situation concerning the NPF came about, and I have the copy here. Okay, now here is another newspaper in 1965, and you wouldn't believe it. The government of Liberia presents a $48 million budget. In 1965, the budget of Liberia was $48 million.
Wow.
48 million in 1965. So if all we can do, we do the calculation, those of the people that are so good with math, let's look at it and see if whether it has made any change. $48 million yesterday, what the dollar value of today? Take into consideration the inflation, all those economic analysis. Let's see if whether it has made anything, because 1965 to 2010 is 55 years ago. If 55 years ago we had a budget of 48 million, today what is our budget? Is it stagnant? Is it the same equivalent of 48 million? So then, of course, we can know that we have not moved anywhere. We have not made any leap. That is what history is all about. So we can look at the pages of history and get to know that, look, whether we are making improvements or not. These are just snapshots of a couple of people that I have here. You see? So, I mean, I'm
No, I said we had a show here. Are we progressing or retrogressing? So I know my political guy, Mr. Ansoni, remembers that very well. So
I remember that very well. So Archie, your goal here is that we learn that historical from these newspaper that you have been keeping and now trying to share. Besides having a page where you share them regularly for us to read, and sometimes you go about writing some analysis to put contents around them for people to understand. Do you intend to do anything further than that? You have the library at home. Now you have a Facebook page where people can access them. Is there any other thing you're thinking about that will make it more accessible for people to reach you easily, that it will reach a much broader audience? Anything you have in mind?
Yes, before COVID, I did the legal document, the legal paper for registration, and after registration, I will launch the center, and I'm in contact with like minds. A couple of people have expressed their intention, the desire to collaborate with me for us to make it bigger. You wouldn't believe it. I got some guests from Switzerland and Sweden from the same page. Some people flew from Switzerland and Sweden, and they were impressed when they came to my house and they saw the library. They asked me the same questions. How did I manage? They took some pictures, and they were so marveled in the war. How did I manage? So the essence here is to avail my library, my coveted library, to the generality of the Liberian people, where they can come and read, not only to keep to my house. I will open a center and I will launch it after this COVID. I've already prepared the legal papers. I will register it, and I will write project proposals. A couple of people are waiting me to write project proposals. I've already did some concept notes, and people have given me some ideas of what to do. And I'm going to make this thing elaborate. And guess what are some of the things I'm going to do? We have had 25 presidents, right?
Yeah.
President, we are is the 25th president, right?
Right.
But let's look at it this way. Do you know the graves of all our past presidents?
No, I don't know. I would like to know.
So you're getting the point. This is where I am going. I'm going to document some of those historical feats. We know where Joseph Jigen Rawa grave is. Hello?
Yeah, listening.
Something happening. I'm not getting.
We can hear you.
I'm not seeing you.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
So okay, let's go ahead. Do you know where Joseph Chicken Robert Graves is?
No. Archie, go ahead. We can see you. Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
You getting me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, Archie, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
We can hear you, like somebody might have called him.
I'm getting you, I'm not hearing you.
No, we are hearing you. Is put your volume down and up.
Hello?
Hello, we're hearing you. Go ahead. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Mr. Williams, we can hear you. Just continue.
Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Williams, we can hear you and we can see you as well. Continue.
I'm not getting you, but if you're getting me, okay. So do you know where Joseph Chicken Robert Grave is, right? We know where Joseph Chicken Robert Grave is. Yeah. We don't know where Stephen Allen Benson grave is. We know where Daniel B. Wardon grave is, right on Warren Street. But yeah. Of our past presidents. So after the death of E.J. Rowe, where did they bury him? Where did they bury the other Daniel E. Howard, Buchanan? Where are the graves? So those are things I'm going to document. I will document those things and bring them to public glare. And every year when our president's birthday comes about, we will create an avenue where we go to schools, we have programs to educate the people about the good deeds that past presidents have been doing for this country. Most people don't know that. The only thing that we know is about President Totmo. When Totmo's birthday comes, we know about President Totmo. We know about President Talbot. We just know about President Doe. We know about President Weah. But how about those people? Yes, we know about Barclay. We know about Daniel B. Wardon because of the national anthem and the Lone Star. But there were other people. There were other people before them. Right. T.R.J. Faulkner, who was the opposition leader, when he died, did they bury him here or he went to America? Where are the children of the past presidents? Are they here? Where are they? Where are the photos of all the past first ladies? I'm not sure that people know or have seen the photos of the past first ladies. Where are the photos? All those things will be documented. I am going to go beyond this whole idea of John Kizet, that is called Boswin, Long Peter history. There are bigger history out there that are uncovered, that people need to uncover and bring to the public glare. Because the sooner we get to know about our history, the better it is for our policymakers, the better it is for our students, the better it is for posterity, and the better it is for all of us to understand what history is all about. So I'm trying to move the whole aspect of history from this traditional historical perspective. Another aspect of when Totmo died, Totmo was in Belefana. That is one aspect. Was Totmo in the bailiwick of Monrovia, or was he out of the Monrovia? Other people say that he was sworn in your pajama. Is that true? Was he sworn in with pajama? I have documents here, I have newspaper here that prove otherwise. The whole Fernando Po crisis, there are documents, historical and archival documents I got that have another layer of the whole Fernando Po crisis. People are not aware of that. Now let's look at it for the Fernando Po crisis. Before Firestone came here, and where did they have Firestone in Mangibi? Which plantation did they have there? Which plantation did they have there? So when Firestone came and organized himself, they accused King and his government, Allen Yancey, of forced labor. When Firestone came in, how did they cultivate the soil? How did they cultivate the soil? Who did they use? Where did they get labor from? We have to examine our history, not because John Brown said it, not because Peter said it, so we should just accept it like that. And this traditional way of historicizing, because one group of people say it, so it should water down our truth. This is why law is so unique. My professor will teach me in school, but we will meet at the court. That is a different ball game. I research the issues of law, he researched the issues of law, and left with the judge to make a determination. The judge will not say, because he was my professor, so he's right, notwithstanding, I have all the legal issues. So not because this man has been a historian for 10, 15, 20 years, so it shows that he got everything about history so holistically. No, we have to move from this thing here.
True.
We have to we have to get the leverage, or the leverages to other people, you know what I'm saying, that can make some inroads when it comes to historical feats. Right. We shouldn't rely on this whole idea of this man have been a journalist for 50 years, so he must have that sine qua non, he must have that exclusive knowledge when it comes to journalism. What you guys are doing now, you are modernizing journalism. You're taking it at a different level. So that is why I am deciding to take history at a different level, for people not to look at history from that old perspective of just history is the record of past and present events. History, the record of past and present events. You can do a whole lot of things with history that can bring development to this country. Thousands of people, we have our historical, like somebody has just said, every newspaper in our library is in one university in America. I'm not sure if you go to our universities here, you will find the past 10 years newspapers. Because people have never given thought. They look at history as some trash. Yeah. You go at the university, only very few people graduate from the history department. And I am available with my knowledge. I am available to teach, maybe free of charge, history to some of the universities, some of the high schools, so people will get to know our historical feats. Here is another thing. I'm sure most people don't know. President Doe was president for 10 years, right? There is one county that he never visited in the whole time that he became president. Do you know which county?
Sino.
Do you know which county?
Is that Sino?
I can't hear you, but Doe have never visited Sino County.
That's what I said.
Doe have never visited Sino County since he became president. He has not visited Sino County. After the situation with Western, Doe did not visit Sino County. The whole West African sub-region, Doe have not visited Ghana. Those are historical things that people know, and people are supposed to know why he has not visited Ghana. Why did he not visit Sino? Why the whole while he was president, just right next door, Jerry Rawlings did not come here. Those are historical things that we're supposed to examine. And when we examine them, it comes to the bilateral level. What was the relationship between Liberia and Ghana, for which those things did not happen? Okay. You see the importance of history?
Can you hear us now?
I'm not sure I'm getting you. I mean, Dennis, I don't know what the problem is. I'm not getting you.
Okay, so you are not getting us. I'm sending you a text. Is your volume?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Live.
I'm not getting you. I don't know what's the problem. I am seeing you, but I'm not getting you.
Okay. Can you?
I'm not hearing you. You're not audible.
Is your volume? Turn up your volume.
You say you muted me. I don't know. Maybe you muted me. I don't know what happened. Unmute me.
Yeah, you are unmuted.
Something somewhere.
Can you hear us now?
You people, but I'm not getting you, and you people are not audible.
Yeah, apparently somebody tried to call you, and that what happens when someone calls.
My volume is up. I don't know what the problem. I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting you.
All right, Archie, then you can leave and come by. It should be able to fix it. It's because someone may have tried to call you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. Yes, please leave and come by if you know how to do that.
I'm not getting. I'm looking at you. I'm seeing you, but I'm not getting you. You're not audible. I'm not listening.
So you can leave the meeting and then you come right back. We'll be here waiting for you.
Mr. Jack, he can't hear us, so.
Yes, I am typing it for him.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Let's log off and come back.
Okay.
Yeah. We could take him out, but then he will not be able to come back.
Yeah, Archie, oh, he should.
If we take him out, he will not be able to log back in, right?
Come back.
Yeah.
So
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. We are having a very historical conversation with the man, Archie P. Williams. Archie P. Williams is the gentleman who has been able to keep about 70,000 newspapers, he said, that contain history about our country. And we are sorry that there's technical issue at his end. He can't hear us, but he can see us. But we can hear everything he's saying, and we are trying to fix it. Very good conversation, but technical issue trying to put us into trouble. The phone lines are open. You can place your phone call while we work on this issue.
Archie, leave.
Archie, can you hear us now?
I can't hear them, but yeah. The volume is high. Leave and come back. No.
Yeah, actually you can leave and then you can come back, and that should be able to take care of it.
He's trying to do is having challenge.
Let's log off. Let's log off and then
you log off.
You log off. You leave. Mr. Jack, if we take him out and bring and send new email with, he has to be able to come in.
Be able to come back.
Okay. All right, Archie, can you hear us now? No. Oh, this is not good. It's ruining this great conversation with Archie. Okay, finally he has gone. Mr. Jad, while we wait for Archie, oh, he's still here. Mr. Williams, can you hear us now? Oh no, he still can't hear.
I just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Just leave and come right back.
So, Mr. Jad, you're listening to Archie. What's your impression so far? I mean, I was just quiet and I couldn't even ask some questions at a certain time because I was just thrilled.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm trying to taking off. And this is the time we want our audience to join the conversation while we try to get Archie back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia, and we are in our conversation with Archie P. Williams. Mr. Williams is the gentleman with the Archie P. Williams Center for Historical Information. He's on Facebook. His page is so rich with all the things of the past, our history, and basically he has been able to keep newspapers dating as far back as 1950 to 1960. And regularly he shared this newspaper on Facebook, and he does it in a way that whatever he shared more like correlate to what is happening today. And this is the conversation we are having with Archie. We are hoping that Archie will log back in so we can continue the conversation. For those of you who been following the conversation, our phone lines are open. You can place your call, and then we will be able to take that phone call. And maybe there's something you have to share. There's something Archie said, that really hit you. Archie is saying that things happened in the past, and it is upon us now that he's sharing it, for us to look at it, look at what's happening today, and see what we can learn from that to avoid similar thing from happening in today's Liberia. This is Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, we promote all things Liberia. We are trying all we can to get Archie back. We're having some sound issue from his end. He couldn't hear us, but we could hear him. Mr. Jao?
Right, and this is the thing that sometimes you tell people and they think that maybe you are not vocal enough, because history is about, lessons, right? You learn from history. So if you have watched 2 or 3 regimes go down a certain path, then if you have the 3rd or 4th one, you don't scream at the top of your lungs as if you have never, watched history unfold right before your eyes. So you take a different approach. And what Archie is doing is trying to tell us that, hey, whatever happened before is happening now. So instead of screaming at the top of your lungs, see what caused it before and how you can deal with it now. Before, beer price, there was tariff on beer. What was the result of that tariff? What were some of the factors that precipitated it? How is it different or close to the tariff on chicken feet or, or the 3-day calling? And then you are able to make informed judgment. And then to our leaders, okay, you watch the same thing play out over and over and over. And you still go right back and do the same thing as if you are impervious to it. So,
and Mr. Ja, I was just about to say too, he talked about when Taylor got elected, members of MPP at the time, people who were supporting the regime, said that Taylor was going to be in power more like for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And he said he saw that happening when now the ruling CDC came to power. There are some people who support the CDC that said that, hey, we are in power and we will be here for 24 years. And Taylor did not even earn his first term. So what can we learn from that as a people? All they yelling that whole be here for 27 years, 25 years, it's not what that will guarantee that to happen.
Yeah.
People said that in the past.
After President Doe did some fake coups, it did some fake coups, and then you will say, oh, this man was trying to kill me, and then they will kill that person. Just to put fear in who be coup makers. So I think the last coup, it was the 85 invasion or something like that. So when they were done, when they crushed that, what they said, no more coup. If they came to a point of feeling almighty, that because we have crushed the most violent rebellion, there's nothing else that can harm us. And what happened? It was the same gun. So from one president after the other, what are the lessons being learned? Both on the administration side and also the side of the people. What are we learning?
And historically speaking too, Mr. Jad, you have a little more understanding than I do. The way government respond to student protests, maybe on campuses. We heard about that in the past. Move or be removed, something I heard. And then today we saw similar thing surfacing on the University of Liberia campus. Even we saw with high school students being tear gassed. So these things happened yesterday. They are happening today. When they happened yesterday, we know where it took us. Yeah. So now that they're happening, should we be afraid? Should leaders of today say no? Other leaders in the past did these kind of things, and it ended us to a very dark side in our history. So we should stop. But others are praising them or defending them or justifying why they are doing them today.
And the interesting piece to that is sometimes you find that victims yesterday become the perpetrators of today.
Ironically, how is that possible? But we have our man Keseli Double on the line. Kezo, we are talking history today. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Birthday man. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Long life, brother. I wish you more years to come.
Okay, thank you.
I hope we can be discussing our history like this too tomorrow or someday.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you very much. And I want to say thanks to Mr. Williams for the level of idea, the level of improvement he's brought to the Liberian history. I wanted to ask him, I came on a little bit late, so maybe I might have missed some things that he discussed. But my question to Mr. William was that, is he in contact with some of those universities or some of the historians on his side that he can be able to gather more information? I mean, reliable information as to, like, as it relates to Liberia's history. That's one question I wanted to ask him. And like you were just saying, Mr. Ja, you know, Liberians, we are not learning. I think the essence of bringing to light some of these historical issues is that for us to be able to learn from them. But like you just stated with President Doe, he lied on people about coup. When this government came to power, one of the first things they said was coup. The party chairman himself said it, that people were trying to overthrow the government. It just died down. Started up one to peace conferences. He signed agreements. When he came back from there, he said he was forced to, he was coerced to have signed some of those agreements. We bring the same thing back to the government. Just we have signed a Abdullahi Journalism Act. When he came from there, the violence against journalists increased. You know, I'm just bringing to light some of those examples where in leader will say one thing, and then in actuality, something different is happening. So I think we as Liberians, we are really not learning from history. History at all or nothing. And until we can actually sit down and look at where we came from, especially for some of us who, went through this civil crisis, because we cannot discuss our third war or third man era, but we who saw the civil crisis, we who saw a little bit of President Doe. That was sometimes we keep saying some of these things to the younger people who actually did not see any of these things, you know, can learn. And I think they will only learn if people who they have belief in, people who they trust, can come out to tell them the truth. But if they look at it to be an opposition or to be an enemy to them, no matter what you tell them, you can even open your head and think that you're opening your head to put the truth there, they will never believe you. They will never. So I just want to take this time to say thanks to Archie William, and I hope he can be able to do the little he can do, and hopefully we can work along with him to make things happen for the sake of Mama Liberia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Kasali, before you go, you talk about the history.
Yep.
So the question is, do people even know the history that you are referencing? Because in order to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past, you must know those mistakes. But people don't know them, and we are
no, they do not.
What we engage in these days is cross talk.
Not at all.
You are opposition. I'm government.
Not at all.
Opposition, and so people cross talk. We talk past each other, and the yelling and everything is not getting us anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. So, Jack, the only person now who can be able to teach me, I'm saying the young people for today, you know, and then we accept it, are people that we believe in. Leaving aside politics, tell the young man the truth because he believes in you. So even if I tell him now, I tell him every other thing, for the fact that he knows me to be on the opposition side, no matter how I speak it, even if it can be the truth, he will never believe it. Yeah. So you who he believes in, and he thinks that you can tell him the truth, whatever you tell him, he will believe it. You should be the one to tell him the truth. Put aside politics. You know, let's discuss it for the sake of Mama Liberia.
That's the challenge. Thank you so much, Mr. Dolo.
All right, Mr. Jai, we have the man George Toto here. We'll bring him in. Mr. Toto, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sia, and also to Mr. Jai. Thanks for the discussion tonight.
Yeah.
Just to add to the discussion tonight, I mean, this is a very important discussion tonight. I think once in a while we need to be having a type of discussion, you know, to kind of enlighten our mind when it comes to the historical event in Liberia. Because I wanted to share this with Mr. Williams. Indiana University have a very good historical and rich document on Liberia. Yeah. I had the opportunity to engage there all my research I do on Liberia, and they were able to give me some good historical document and information about Liberia. I even spoke to one of the gentlemen that take care of all the historical information from African countries or Indiana University, one Dr. Spoon. So that would be a good place for Mr. Woodard to try to reach out to them to see how best he can allow that document was part of his document he get here, ACA. And then also to the event that occurred in Liberia history has been full of social lies. And that's the reason why it makes it difficult, I think, for us, for this generation or coming generation to really believe in the historical event that taking place in Liberia, because the true story have not been told. There have been a lot of fantasy. People make us stories like we're talking about the COVID-19. People make us stories and to target people. When we were growing in the 80s, even before up to the war, we used to hear that they brought a group of children from Nima County, they buried them in the water. Even up to now today, we cannot even do mass graves. We can't even locate the mass graves. Where kids were brought from Nima County, they were buried in mass graves, where people are doing it. We can't even point to the thing. And I believe all the things were just so lie, just to target a certain group of people. And this is the effect we have in our country today. And I think to change the discourse, we need to talk about discussion where we can deep in our historical event and come up with factual information like the ACA that Archie were having, and also the Indiana University, and Stanford University, another listener mentioned, also in the dialogue.
Right. And I posted the link from Indiana University. If people can click on that, they will see that. Archie, unmute yourself. Can you hear us now? Unmute yourself, please. All right. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
If you can hear me, say, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We are so glad to have you. So, Archie, my question to you here is, every era has its own pro-government, anti-government, and all kinds of newspapers, right? If you were, so during those of us who grew up during the Doe era, you know that if you had a Daily Observer newspaper, it's going to be, balanced, even though there was other newspaper if you take will be pro-government, right? So how do you know that some of these news, how do you, kind of analyze to see that this newspaper, what I'm reading from this newspaper is the truth, or this newspaper was just a government mouthpiece, or because this other newspaper was just anti-government, everything bad about government. So how do you do that analysis that what you are reading is actually factual?
You see, the media is a vast institution that can create or break. This is why most politicians, most government decide to use newspaper. Like you rightly said, every administration got its own newspaper. For example, the New Liberian newspapers are pro-government newspapers, a moth-organ newspaper. I work with Ministry of Information in 3 different capacities as administrative assistant to the Minister, Director of Planning and Research, and Director of Communication. The New Liberian newspaper are pro-government newspaper. Everything about government propagate the messages of government. There are some other friendly and moderate newspapers, and there are some newspapers that are in the middle. They are not for government. They are not for opposition. They are in the middle. They become very factual. And there are some other newspapers that are leftists and some of them are rightists. Now your question is, how do I know? It's simple. You know from the headlines. You know from the headlines. Everything about government is sensationalized. Obviously, you know that particular newspaper is a pro-government newspaper. There is nothing critical about government. Even if there are things that would be critical of government, that newspaper, notwithstanding, it has a cloak of a private ownership. But everything about government is pro from headlines. From Monday to Friday, the headlines are just pro-government. You know that is government. That's the people that are leaning to government. Then on the other side, there are newspapers that see nothing positive about government.
Right.
Yeah, they see nothing positive about government. Obviously, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you which side this particular newspaper is leaning. Then that particular newspaper is hostile to the particular administration. If administration yesterday they were hostile, and then you see them taking a different trend when it comes to this particular administration, then you know obviously they were hostile to past administration. So you can gauge them and know. Now we're standing there, all the newspapers are in the middle. They are not for or they are not against, they are just there to print factual newspaper. And I'm not here to call specific newspapers, but you can know from the headlines of newspapers and you know which one of them are regime friendly and newspapers that are not regime friendly. It's very easy.
Let's go back to the 1950s, 60s, and 70s and call some names. Call some papers that you think were pro-government that when you pick them up and you can tell, because I'm having a hard time understanding how you would know that.
But for example, in the 60s or in the 50s, in the 60s for that matter, they only had, I think, 2 newspapers. They had the Liberian Star or Liberian Age, and you had a Daily Listener. The Daily Listener was a private newspaper, but I'm not sure the contents of the daily newspapers were antagonistic to government. Although notwithstanding it had a private flavor, but those days, you wouldn't know which side was leaning, especially in a one-party state where you have only 3 parties. It was difficult for you to get to know which side the Daily Listener was leaning. And then you have the Liberian Age, our pro-Liberian newspaper and pro-government newspaper. Only in 1980, when the weekend news was published, started by Carlton Carpet. So that was Carlton Carpet newspaper was an independent newspaper in 1980, but it didn't stay long. Then came Daily Observer, I think somewhere 81. And Daily Observer became a professional media outlet that was not for or against government policy. It reported directly as the things occurred. And sometimes the headlines were so critical of government until I think they closed them 3 different times. I got some newspapers where soldiers went to close Daily Observer newspaper because a headline that came when the headline came, bad roads. Jenkins Scott, as Justice Minister, ordered the closure of Daily Observer, and even to an extent where Daily Observer was even burned down for critical newspapers, for critical reportage. So after Daily Observer, you had the Daily News, besides that you have footprints of Maurice Sarkozy Leaf. Those were independent newspapers that were critical of government. Now we stand, government had the other pro newspapers that were coming up. You see, but like I said, you can know if people is pro or anti from the headline. There's no doubt about it. From the headline, you can know a government is pro or it's not a pro newspaper. How will you call the Patriot newspaper? How will you call Patriot newspaper?
The NPP mouthpiece.
And obviously, Patriot. You know that there are headlines that came from Patriot, and you wonder if whether the other people were not doing the right thing. Everything about Patriot was pro-Gange. It was understood because Patriot was the organization newspaper. You see, was the organization newspaper. So papers, yes, they come out. And another thing, papers come out after 2, 3, 4 months, they die down. Politicians that just got late power, they want to entrench themselves, they open newspaper, and that people will just only say everything positive. As soon as you move from power, that people die down. That you can know right there and then that particular paper is an apologist of the government of a particular institution. We have some radio stations here. Where are they today? They were being sponsored by some politicians. You understand?
So Archie, besides the newspaper, what else do you archive that's in your library today?
I got thousands of historic photos.
Yeah, I saw the photo of Detour and Paramount Chief Tuazama. What else?
Yeah, Swakoko. Have you seen the photo of Swakoko?
Yes, I did.
Okay, have you seen it? Okay, but I posted it on the center. Have you seen the photo of Lango Lepe?
Yes.
Okay, you were lucky to see the photo of Lango Lepe, but other people have not.
Actually, do you have the picture of the most talk about or Dwanimle?
Oh, the Paramount Chief Dwanimle?
Yeah.
Remind me in my inbox. I will see. I'll post it. I think I posted it before, but just remind me in my inbox. I will look for it. I will post it. I will do a story of that. I'm not sure more people know about that, but I will look for it and I'll post it.
Are you sure Dwanimle was a Paramount Chief? He was a warrior, right?
Yeah, warrior from Southtown, Southtown.
Yeah.
From South Side. Yeah. Yeah, I will just remind me in my inbox, and I will look for it. I will post it. I will do a story about that. It's important that people get to know the history. What led to the execution of the chiefs? We only know the execution of very few people around here, but what led to the execution of the chiefs? We need to know all those things. Like I was saying before I went up, I am saying we need to document history. I'm not sure plenty of people know. I've seen the photos of all our first ladies. People have not seen all our first ladies. We have seen all the presidents' photos. I'm not sure people have seen the photos of all the vice presidents. We're going to look from Joseph Jenkins Robert to George. Where are all the vice presidents? Have you seen the photo? Have you seen the photo of this before President Tubman built the mansion on Ashmore Street? Where did we have the mansion? Okay, we had Joseph Jenkins Robert House, right? That was the first mansion, right? Historically, where that mansion was, where all the other presidents had been residing. Was it where all the other presidents have been residing? Where have the president been residing? Where were the offices? I'm not sure you guys know that.
No.
I don't know
And
that.
actually, what puzzled me most of the time, even we did a show here on a survey of the presidents, because the only thing that we all learned in school about presidents, just their names and maybe when they were in office, nothing else. Who were these people? What they did?
This is what I am going to do.
Yeah.
We only know about Joseph Jenkins Robert House. Where I'm sure you have a law library. Where did Stephen Allen Benson have a horse? Did Daniel B. Wharton have a horse? Did James Springfield have a horse? So when they were president, where did they live? We need to know all these things. We need to document them. We need to document them.
And Archie, throughout your collection and reading of these newspapers, there's something that have been debatable recently, and that is First Lady having a budget. You know, from your reading of history from the past president, have you been able to pick up something about a budget for a first lady, anything like that? It has come in the news too often and in politics too often nowadays.
But that is easier to find. Just get the past budget and just look at the budget line, get to know whether it was there. I'm not sure it was there. It's clear. This is not a historical. It's not anything that is so difficult to come. The budgets are there. You can find the budget, the past budget. In fact, the most recent budget when Ellen was in power. Okay, you could say Ellen was a woman, so there was no first lady. But then look at Charles Taylor time. Jewel Howard Taylor is current vice president. When she was first lady, did she have a budget? It's easier for media people to get to her. It's easier for us to get the past budget if that is an issue. To me, it's not an issue to argue because the facts are right there. The budgets are there. You will go to the finance ministry and get the past budget, and you can find all those things. So that is to me that is so inconsequential or an endeavor for anybody to want to get into. Truly, I'm not sure first ladies have budget because we know that in my understanding that the group of 77 was the first lady was responsible for group of 77, and that was captured specifically in the budget of the first lady was strictly for humanitarian aspect.
Yeah, so Williams, I know you started this thing, when you were very young, and now you're doing it. Let us not neglect the money aspect. You are sitting on gold. How do you hope to turn some of this into cash?
Actually, yes, cash is an important aspect, but my whole thing here is service oriented.
Okay.
It's service to people. When cash will come, it will come. Truly, when cash will come, it will come. There are a couple of people, in fact, one group of people came here and they wanted to buy my whole collection. So if I were hard for cash, I would have sold my whole collection today. We won't be discussing this thing. It's tempting. Sometimes you are broke, you don't have anything, and you're sitting down, newspaper you have to buy, insecticide, pesticide to keep rats away when you don't have the basic resources to keep yourself. It's very expensive. And every day you have to buy newspapers, it's very expensive. And then you see a group of people that want to buy your whole library for a hefty amount. incredible sum of money, and I was brave to turn it down. It shows that money is not the factor to me. My major thing here is service to the people. And that is my satisfaction is germinated by the fact that I am conducting the interview on your platform, and people are benefiting from my center, and by extension, other centers. It brings more joy to me. It's very tedious, very tedious. The computer, from here, I will not sleep until 3, 4 o'clock because I have to go about doing research for tomorrow. What will be the reflection for news in the headlines? I will have to. You understand? So it's tedious by the day.
Well,
and
Archie,
every
do you have people working with you? At least you have one or two person who help you, or it's just you?
For now, to do the research, yes, but to package the newspapers, I have 2 boys that live with me here that help me to do the packaging of the newspaper. But to do the research, they have not reached that level of consciousness yet to understand the intricacies of what I do. So for the research aspect, I do that. Hopefully, I will train people and bring people on board. When I open the center, I will train people to look to do the research. But for now, when it comes to the research, I do the research by myself. But now we're standing, I got 2 boys that live with me that do the packaging.
Terence Sako said, do you have plans to digitize these papers that is for safekeeping, like against fire? If you had them digitized, you will not be worried about rats.
That is a fine question. It's in the project. I got three of my friends that have volunteered to help to digitize them, and obviously when they are digitized, they will go a long way. And another gentleman have volunteered to put them on decks. You talking about I'm sitting on a gold mine. Talking about the financial aspect. Another gentleman had recommended to me that he want to put on decks or a particular newspaper, for example, Daily Observer or Footprint newspaper. He want to put them on decks per year, and then we can market them. So if at all you're looking for a particular edition of Footprints newspaper, you just have that date and you put it in your PC, and then you get to know everything that happened that particular year. So yes, I have that in the offing. It's part and parcel of my project, and there are a whole lot of people that are so enthusiastic that want to help me in that process.
And I will ask you about 2 headlines, but before then, let me read a few comments. Dave just said, do you have any report of the exploitation of rural dwellers during the era of the TWP and after the 2WP was removed?
Okay.
One more, let me read one more before you comment. Cassius F. Walker said, well appreciated, Mr. Williams. Your current historical contribution to our country's history had attached and will continue to provide us relevant information which may result in total transformation for our minds and progress as people and country. Again, bravo. Please continue your excellent work.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate the second caller. I mean, that alone is a motivation to me. Reference the first question. The reason why the True Party was overthrown, one of the major reasons was exploitation of the masses. That was one of the major reasons. And in fact, during the progressive era, one of the major counts against the True Party government was the exploitation, market work bamboo draw. That was exploitation. So there are countless documented history about exploitation in the past. And even after that, when the Redeemers, the PRC Redeemers came into power, we saw a couple of exploitation. When Charles Taylor was coming to, he said people were exploited, or against that bad guy, he decided to get Ado and his people. So exploitation has been abounding the whole while. When Sekou Kone and his Ulimo were coming, they said Charles Taylor were exploiting the people against that bad guy, he decided to remove Charles Taylor. So people hide behind the cloak of exploitation, and now they come, similar things have not been washed away. So documents, yes, historical documents are bound, they are available. I have them in my archives, and then every other time, sometimes I post them. So yes, indeed, exploitation has been major things that have been captured in the headlines of newspapers.
And I saw what you posted about the, I think it was on your site, I read the Arbor Port account of the rice riots. But in spite of that, there is still a lot of controversy. What the story I wanted to ask you for is a statement that was attributed to former President Sirleaf saying, burn down the mansion. If it costs you to burn down the mansion, we'll build it, we'll rebuild it. I don't know if you saw that anywhere. And then another story I want you to check for is
I have a newspaper here where she confirmed that she made the statement. I have a newspaper here.
Then do you have a newspaper where in 1988 when I wrote an article to stop Malawala, the showing of the comedy Malawala Balawala on TV? It appears in the Daily Observer and Post newspaper. Do you have it? Check for it.
I have a newspaper. I don't know whether you were the author, but I have a newspaper concerning Malawala Balawala. Two newspapers, two articles of a newspaper concerning Balawala, especially the impact on the younger people, and then more than that, the exploitation of Balawala. You know, I don't know whether that is what you are referring to, but I have newspaper concerning that. Yeah,
maybe that was 1988.
And Archie, I want to ask, beside newspapers and other things you talk about, like pictures, what's about audios, like interviews of presidents, some past leaders, you know, maybe reports, you know, of major events? Do you have audio tapes that are historical as well?
I have few audios, but you know, those days audios were not prevalent. So the ones that we rely on YouTube is why. But I mean, I started documenting audios from 1985, especially during the 1985 elections. Yes, I have a couple of audios, and I have some audios concerning. In fact, I have one audio in 1919. Where was that? Doki. In before Chancellor launched his, I think it was somebody in 1985, the Niba raid, or I have an audio about Doki. Yes, Doki making some statements about war to remove Do and all of that. I have that audio. I have that audio cassette. Yes, I have that audio cassette. Yeah, but audio were not prevalent those days, so but I have few, but not as compared to newspapers and then the historical photos.
This will be my last question, and about, you know, does this keeping all this information carry some level of risk? You know, say, okay, maybe I took part, you know, I did something bad and it's probably in the newspaper and Archie has it and I don't want this to come out. Or, you know, this newspaper, have there been anything like that, any risk involved so whatsoever?
And you know, that's a brilliant question. Yes, there has been risks. In my inbox, people have come to me, have accused me, have insulted me on a daily basis. If for example, I posted something today that is not favorable to one group of people, they come, and you wouldn't believe it. One day I am, I am a country, quote unquote, you know where is that now? Where Father after you say you contrary something, right? Mm-hmm. The other day I am an apologist of the Congo people, especially my name is Archie Williams. You understand? They bring me as a Congo American Liberian. The next day, I'm a country something. You understand? The adjective I don't want to call it. So I'm caught between the lines. You understand? Especially when it comes to paper. But actually, the papers I post is not for any particularistic interest. I don't use the paper as something to go after targeted people. No, I don't make the news. The past news, I was not the harbinger of the past news. And the present news, I am not the one that is making the news. You understand? I just use the instruments of news to bring to public glare. And some people don't like it like that. So yes, it's a risk. It's a serious risk I am in. Many days people insult me. Many days people accuse me of being an agent for one group of people, the next day I'm agent for another group of people, and it's a tedious thing. But once I know my conscience is clear, like I explained to you, this has been a childhood inclination from day one. It's not just today something. So I don't mind. Once I have a mission, I will execute that mission devoid of people's own threat. And people that threaten, those are people that have their own limitations. I'm not bothered by that. Truly.
All right.
I mean,
Finally, this one from me. I'm now listening to Archie. What an opportunity. And this is what I'm thinking. I know what Archie is up to. Archie want to build this library with all these historical information therein, so that anybody can come from anywhere and go there and do research and get information, maybe for researcher, maybe for students, maybe for teachers. And that way, Archie will be making a very good contribution to Liberia. Is that what Archie is thinking?
It appears to me that you can read mind your soothsayer, and precisely that's the whole essence of this thing. The idea is I want to build a historical institution that will be known worldwide. Everything about Liberia, hands-on issues about Liberia, from the Joseph Jiggin Rawas time to this present time. If at all you want to make research on the current president, when he started playing his football, where are the photos? Where were the first field he played on? How many goals he scored? You come to my center, you get to know about all those things. If at all you want to know about the fifth first lady in Liberia, what was her contribution, you come to my center, you will be able to access, and her information will be available to you.
All you want to know about Wulajabo from the weekend, you should be able to go there.
If at all he was of historical consequence,
yeah,
obviously it will be captured. So this thing is not about Morovia thing. This is a broad-based thing. We have to recalibrate history. We have to do history for a different perspective. We have to define history for a different perspective. It's not based on our usual history. History can transform a nation. It can bring, in fact, it can bring tourists to our country. It's another aspect of generating funds for our country. When people get to know that you have a historical base, you know how many Liberians up there that got linked to Liberia, plenty of people out there that got linked to Liberia, and they have not known Liberia. When they get to know, there are some historical features where they can come and study about history. That alone is another aspect of tourism.
Right.
Now, let me ask the other question. I mean, I know people run out of time. Liberia declared war on Germany, right? Historically, right. Liberia declared war on Germany. Who was the general?
I have no idea.
For Liberia?
So you get the point now.
Yeah.
You get the point. So people told us that Liberia declared war on Germany. But what means that Liberia declared war on Germany? Did we have armed forces at that time? Or was that a proclamation or policy of government to declare war on Germany? Who were the generals? How many armies did we have? How many soldiers did we have? We need to look into our history to get to the bottom of all these things that were fed to us, whether they were real or they were not real. Don't get me wrong. Liberia has a solid root when it comes to history. When we're talking about African liberation, you can't talk about African liberation without talking about Liberia. This is why this couple of people are disappointed that at the level of AU, you don't have anything substantive about Liberia, simply because Liberia itself has never taken history to be important. You have not taken your history to be important. So how do you expect other countries to take your history? Liberia is a founding member of OAU, that is now AU, a founding member of ECOWAS, a founding member of Mano River Union, a founding member of African Development Bank, and you can name them. What leverage have they given Liberian? They got qualified Liberian, but other countries got quota. So when we get to know the historical aspect, and we go for what belongs to us, it makes it all right. And you will only know that when you get to know about history. When you get to know about your history, only your history alone can make a leeway. There are a whole lot of people, like I said here, there are a whole lot of people that in this country that don't know about the history. They don't know about the history. Like I said, T.R.J. Faulkner. T.R.J. Faulkner was the one that unraveled the financial crisis.
Right.
Where is his grave?
And where his family members?
Huh?
I said, and where his family members, the generation?
Family members are. But here is a man, he contested for the presidency. So now listen to me to me again. History has told us from the whole idea of Fernando Charles David King that Liberia had a rigged election of 120,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
Did they tell you historically, did they tell you where were the eligible voters? How many eligible voters we had?
Yeah, they said the eligible voters were, I think, 15,000, and
Fine.
Faulkner won 9,000, and the CDB King won some 200 plus thousand.
Fine. So if Faulkner won, you have 15,000, Faulkner won 9,000. So by extension, right? By extension, CDB King should have won 6,000. So Faulkner should have become president, right?
Right.
So that is what they were indirectly, that is what they were saying. But there is another layer to that. So if at all Faulkner had won that election, so the whole idea of Fernando Po crisis would not have come about, because he did not win the election. He was able to report CDB King about the CDB King and his group of people to the League of Nations concerning the Fernando Po crisis. But if he had won the election, was it going to come about?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Archie.
So you get the point. So people tend to be very, very much selfish when it's not in their interest. Now, who was the election commission chairman at that particular time? Did they tell you?
No.
And incidentally, you'll be surprised that the election commission chairman at that time was M.A. Hammond's father.
Oh yeah, that's true. His father.
You get
Wow.
it?
Yeah.
Actually, a lot to cover. I think we should do this again.
Let's do it again. But Archie, before we close here, I said this was my last question, but I lied because Dave just said something and it reminded me. At the end of this thing, what do you want the people listening to you to do? Do you need what? And this is what Dave Jai is saying. By the way, Dave is my brother. He said, Mr. Williams, thanks for your contribution. What assistance will you need to advance your mission? Where do you intend to have your center? So you want to have a center, you want to do X, Y, Z. Do you need anything from the people listening to you, including Focus on Liberia?
Look, this is a tedious process. I'm not going to make this specific. I mean, people know that this thing is very expensive. I use internet on a daily basis. I use computer on a daily basis. Yes, for now, I use my horse. I use my boys' quarter as my office. And when I launch it, right? When I launch it, I will make appeals to people, anything. But for now, if all you ask me what I need, anybody out there under my voice that listening to me now, you get any old newspaper, you get any old document contributed to the center. This is what I need now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Jack, do you have one?
Yeah.
Let's call it a night.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for following our broadcast here. We also want to say a very, very big thank you to our guest, the man Archie P. Williams. Mr. Jack, should we take this call from Professor Larry Davis?
Yeah, let's take that last call, and then Archie will make his final 1-minute statement.
All right. Professor Davis, quickly, you have 1 minute, sir. We're about to close. Professor Davis. Let me see. Okay.
No, go ahead, Professor Davis. You are live.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Archie. Yes, I enjoy your work. This is the best show that you've ever done. Briefly, could you answer this one question? Could you briefly tell me, Archie, who was responsible for writing Liberia's original constitution? I'll take my call off the air. Thanks so much.
Who was what? Who was responsible for writing Liberia's original constitution?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the 1847 Constitution. Yes.
But Larry, Larry, you asked me that question back before and I answered it. you asked me that question before and I answered it.
So answer it again for the sake of our audience, if you don't mind.
If you say the 1847 Constitution, That is what you are saying, because Liberia had different constitution. You had a Commonwealth Constitution, you had the 1847 Constitution, and the Constitution of the First Republic. That is what you are talking about?
I suppose that's the 1847 Constitution, right?
Yeah.
The one that was
Yes.
suspended in 1980.
Yeah, but was that Hillary teach?
Yeah, that's what I heard too. All right, Mr. William, you make
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let's listen to the professor now. Professor, what was that Hillary teach?
Yes. Yes, I do believe it was Hillary Teague. I know that Hillary Teague actually wrote the Declaration of Independence and also Liberia's national anthem, but it does appear that he also played a role in the Constitutional Congress as well, and that is according to Dr. Carl Patrick. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
But he didn't write the national anthem. The national anthem was Daniel B. Whatnot.
Right, and Jimmy Eastman said it was written by Professor Greenville of Harvard. But thank you so much, Professor David. And Archie, your final thoughts as we conclude the show tonight.
And Mr. Jaya, before Archie can say something, I think Professor Larry is wrong to say this is the best show we ever done. That is not true.
Well, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. That's for him, that's his best. So we thank him.
All right, Sam. Maybe it's about history, then maybe that's true. All right, Archie, we have covered a lot. I think we should do this again. And you are saying that if any contribution that somebody can make, they have newspapers somewhere they should share with you, even though we're talking about maybe some financial contribution, but close.
No, I wouldn't rule that out, but I mean, I wouldn't rule that out. Obviously, this is and for now, I'm not getting assistance from anybody. My meager resources, I mean, obviously, I have to stretch my meager resources to get these things going. On a daily basis, I have to do that. But I mean, anybody, it's not something that I would want to do. If people see the importance of what I do and they want to make their contribution, obviously, I will accept it. In closing, I highly appreciate both of you, Dennis and Steele, for inviting me. And they will just show you that they will go a long way. I have a bigger project that I want to execute to the general benefit of all of us. It's not an easy thing. Needs all hands on deck. I alone cannot do it. Notwithstanding, I have the resources, I have the material resources, but other people may have other resources, and we can collaborate and make it a better place for us. Once again, I thank you. I highly appreciate it, and I'm available anytime you call me at any minute. I will make myself available to render my own expertise, especially when it comes to history. The funny part about it, where I studied in college is not where I'm undergoing. With all the accolades, all the academic degrees that you just read, I'm in history. That's the funny aspect of it. It's my passion. Now we're studying the academic qualification, so I will foster it, and maybe that's what God wants me to go through. Thank you.
Archie, thank you, and we can't thank you enough. And folks, this is how we will come to the end of our broadcast. I will now turn it over to Mr. Jaya.
And I want to say thank you so much, Archie, for accepting our invitation to be here. I know it's late in Monrovia now. And all our viewers, thank you so much for participating, our callers and those who commented. Today is the birthday of my co-host and a partner here at Focus on Liberia, Mr. Ansoni Sie. Mr. Sie, publicly, I want to say happy birthday, and thank you for being such a resource here at Focus on Liberia. We appreciate your hard work, and I don't know what we could have done at Focus on Liberia without you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Happy birthday.
And keep watching Focus on Liberia. We are coming up with 2 series. One is we want to assess Africa, post-COVID-19 Africa, the economy, health, and also politics. That will be coming up, and we're going to be inviting some other African brothers and sisters to be part of that panel. And another series that is coming up here on Focus on Liberia is Where is God? Where is God in every aspect of our life? Where is God in the COVID-19 pandemic? Where is God in our elections? Where is God in our daily lives? and we're going to be inviting people of faith to be guests on this particular series. You can either be a Christian, a Muslim, or someone of no faith who want to examine where does God fit in all the things that we struggle with on a daily basis. I want to say thank you again for listening and watching tonight. On behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberia, my name is Dennis Johnson. Good night and God bless you.
We are Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Yeah, you made it all we want. Liberia. Yeah, you made it all we want. Liberia.